why Rachel Maddow called on God, shocking vote dumping charts, and Team Trump lawyers are on it. This is Steve Elliott with today's VIP briefing. It's Election Day +2 as we continue in the battle for the soul of America in what is going to be a very, very busy day, and lots it's going to be happening. We want to get right to today's VIP briefing. This is the Breitbart map we're looking at, and it hasn't changed. Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Breitbart also includes Wisconsin and Michigan because of all that's been going on there. All the shenanigans that have been going on there is still undetermined. The president still has a clear path to victory. All that has to do is confirm his victories in Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, and then win either Arizona or Nevada. And despite all the shenanigans, the president gets to 270. It's that simple. Confirm North Carolina, which has decided they're not going to announce anything until next week. Georgia, where they're trying everything that they can do to steal that decision as well. And Pennsylvania, where we know what's going on there. Confirm those 3 states, and then win either Arizona or Nevada. It can happen. Let's talk about Nevada first, because results may come out today. And if they come out today, and if it's certified, or if the election officials complete their count, the news media will rush to announce that Joe Biden has 270 electoral college votes. And the pressure will really build, and this will shift. In fact, it will escalate rapidly, I would say. I would expect you'd hear immediately from the president within a short time after that. And it could get even more and more intense. But the reality is, Nevada, at this point, President Trump is only a few thousand votes short of taking Nevada. And we know generally the late votes is what's getting counted. In these types of states, in Nevada, Arizona, the late votes are breaking in the president's favor. The same thing's happening in Arizona, where there's several 100,000 votes which are still yet to be counted. Some of the results came in last night, and they broke 60-40 Trump, which is what's causing Rachel Maddow on air last night to gasp, "Oh my God," because she knew exactly what it meant. The first batch of late early votes, they call them, came in at 59% for President Trump, and she gasped, "Oh my God," because that means exactly what the Trump campaign has been saying, that they're expecting the late early votes are going to come in their favor, and if they come in about 60%. In fact, our calculation, we've got this on grassfire.com. You go to Grassfire, look at our Battleground banner, or click on that Battleground article. We have every battleground state, the percentage of votes that the president needs to win the state. The president needs 57.3% by our estimate of the outstanding votes to overtake Joe Biden and win Arizona. And if you flip Arizona back to red, it again changes the map and puts a lot more pressure on the election officials in Georgia and North Carolina to certify those, and Pennsylvania to stop stealing the election. It's going to come down to Pennsylvania once again. And we're not giving up hope on Michigan or Wisconsin because of what happened in the wee hours of the night after we've all went to bed. As I talked about this yesterday, some incredible things happened. Let's look at Wisconsin first. This is a chart showing the vote, and the Democrat vote, the Biden vote. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, 4 a.m., it shoots straight up. I've got a zoomed in look at that. There it is, out of nowhere. Straight up, straight north goes the Biden vote. And all of a sudden, he overtakes President Trump, who had a substantial lead in Wisconsin. Same thing happened in the race in Michigan. President Trump had a significant lead that was continuing on. Pundits were leaning Michigan, and then suddenly they stopped the vote count. And what happened? All of a sudden, the Biden votes shoot straight north. The other thing suspicious about both Wisconsin and Michigan is that the percentage of voters who voted is astoundingly high. In Wisconsin, it's 89% of registered voters voted. In Michigan, it's 90%. The high water mark in Wisconsin happened, of recent memory, happened in 2012 for Barack Obama, and they had 77%. To move the needle from 77% to 89% is an almost impossible task. So what really happened in all of these states, and this is very, very important to understand, we have to go back to 2000 to understand what happened in 2020. Do you remember 2000? Do you remember the hanging chads? Do you remember Florida? Well, the mistake the Democrats made is they allowed the Florida count to be published, to notice to be given, and George W. Bush claimed victory, and then the Gore campaign had to fight for a recount. That didn't work out so well for the Democrats. And then in 2016, the same thing happened at less of a degree. It was a more clear victory for the president, but there were a few states that were very close, including Pennsylvania. I believe Michigan was another state, Wisconsin. Those states were close. They were close, not close enough for a recount, but they were close. And so the problem that the failure that Hillary Clinton made in their mind was that she allowed the final vote to happen, and then it was very difficult to back up from that. So the Democrats said that they were not going to allow final vote counts on election night. Do you remember this? This is for months. They used the excuse of the pandemic, to establish in our minds that we will not have final vote counts in the states on election night. What they really were trying to tell you without saying it is, we're not going to allow final vote counts until we know how many votes we need to win the state. It's exactly what happened in key swing states. They weren't close enough in Florida to do that. 3% was too big of a margin. But in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in these other states, North Carolina, Georgia, they didn't allow final vote counts. In fact, the vote stopped. It just suddenly stopped. I know because I was watching. You were probably watching as well. The pundits were pretty commentators. Well, I guess this is all we're going to get for tonight. We'll have to wait for tomorrow. Why do you stop the vote? You stop the vote because you got to figure out how many votes you need to win the election. This is exactly what happened. We saw it. I showed you the charts. It's outrageous. The president is going to take action. Take a look at this from Nate Silver and his 538. 2 more batches. He's all excited. 2 more batches of Pennsylvania votes were reported. 23,277 votes in Philadelphia, all for Biden. That's a statistical impossibility, even if 1% of the voters is going to support Trump in that precinct. To have 0 votes, to have 100% for Biden. These votes are coming in 90-something% or 100% for Biden. These vote dumps. It's happening, sadly, in all these key states. But something else is happening. Something else happened on Election Day. Something else is happening right now across the country. There is a powerful revolution that's sweeping the land. It's happening. We saw it in all the rallies for President Trump. It wasn't just about President Trump, though. We had massive rallies, 50,000, 30,000. People were being turned away because in standing outside the rallies because they had reached their maximum. And then all the spontaneous rallies, 70,000 cars in Miami. 70,000 cars, 6-8-hour car caravans, thousands of boats. Spontaneous rallies were happening all across the country. And it reflected in the election on Election Day. Not one House Republican lost re-election. Several new members of Congress, Republicans elected several women as new members of Congress. The Republicans retained control of the Senate. There was no blue wave. In reality, there is a red wave happening. President Trump rightfully should have won this election. And I believe he will be found the legitimate winner of this election when the legal votes are counted, because there is a wave. It's a red wave. You can feel it. It's still rising up, and it's rising up even today. There's rallies and protests happening across the country. People are standing up and saying, don't steal the vote. And it's going to happen. We see the American people standing up. The president has his legal team moving. And let me encourage you, call Congress. Let your member of Congress know what you think. Take a stand on this issue. It's a very, very important time. And let me encourage you to take a stand with Grassfire. We certainly could use your help. If you're not a VIP, please consider becoming a VIP and help us. Just go to grassfire.com VIP. Just today, we're having many new members: Pamela, Linda, Francis, Richard, Guy, Emily, Thomas, Ron, Shelley, Terrence. They're standing up and standing with Grassfire so that we can be a voice of truth in this time of great difficulty for our nation. We need to stand together to defend our country and to make America great again, to defend America's greatness, and not let this election be stolen, to demand that every legitimate vote be counted. And hopefully we'll see that happen in the next few days and weeks. Thank you so much for your support. This is Steve Elliott with Grassfire.